All right, rolling out, rolling out, rolling out. It's your host, Crystal Jordan, and we're back with another reality check conversation. Now, reality check is all about relationships, especially as it relates to reality TV shows. And so, my next guest, you may have met her this season on Black Ink Crew, but she's been a boss long before joining reality TV. Please help me welcome Suzette Samuel to Reality Check. Hey,
Hey,
lady.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I mentioned, you have been doing your thing for a lot longer than people before people knew about you. But how has being on television helped your real estate business? Because you've been a real estate entrepreneur for a long time. But I've got to assume that being on TV and being kind of in the media, that's got it helps a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's definitely helped as far as credibility.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Real estate, I got my license in 2019. I really
Okay.
started practicing like full term during COVID. So actually
Oh, wow.
2020, yeah, so actually in 2020, that's when I kind of took it seriously. A lot of people think, you just get your license and get to work.
Right.
Get your license, they only teach you how to pass the test. You got to learn about the market. You got to find a broker. You got
Mm-hmm.
to get trained. You got to get your systems together, your lenders together. And these are all things that I struggled with in my first year. So
Okay.
I had people, I've always had the social media presence.
Mm-hmm.
My past, being a bartender, being a video vixen and stuff like that, I've always had a large following. So it
Mm-hmm.
was more so challenging getting my followers to convert from seeing that to
Yeah.
more so the business aspect. So I would say that that was my biggest challenge. But around the time I got my real estate license, I also launched my financial literacy business.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Mm-hmm.
took off full throttle.
Okay.
So quick that it kind of left me on the back burner. I didn't really have the time to put into the real estate, into
Mm-hmm.
building everything the way that I did. So when COVID happened, everything slowed down. That's when I kind of tapped in more on the real estate side. Sold about 5 houses during COVID. So that was really
Wow.
extreme for me because I didn't sell anything my first year. My first year, nothing
Was the
was really
building.
together. Yeah. So it's been a blessing. Reality
Mhm.
TV has definitely just heightened I guess you can say my visibility.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and yeah.
Okay. Now, what was it about real estate that was appealing to you? Because, especially right now, but I mean, with you with being a very social person and obviously got great people skills, what was it about going into real estate that seemed attractive and made you think, I want to give this a try?
You want to know something? I'm from New York. So
Okay.
unless you're like in that crowd, that's not something we think about in New York. I
Mm-hmm.
moved to Atlanta in 2016. I was actually bartending, and some
Okay.
people have randomly, you know how when someone walks into the room, their presence is felt, the whole room stops. So I
Mm-hmm.
actually had a very successful, rich, older real estate broker that had came and seen me at the club, and she was like, why don't you give real estate a try? And of
Mm-hmm.
course, we all know real estate is selling homes, buying homes, but we don't know the logistics of it until you start researching. So when she put
Right.
it in my ear, it was kind of like, okay, let me see what this is about. And then I had went and did a video shoot, and
Mm-hmm.
the same lady was there and was like, I want you to get your license and work for me. So it was like, okay, this is a sign. This is something that I need to consider or look into. At the time, I was getting
Mm-hmm.
tired of that lifestyle anyway. I wanted more stability. I wanted more, I have 2 kids. So I wanted
Okay.
more of a promising future.
Right.
Into it, found a school, went to school, and the rest is history.
Now, what about financial literacy? Because I was looking at your page and I saw that you really help people get their credit together, help
Right.
them basically get prepared to be able to buy a house or buy an investment property. So, what have you enjoyed as you've been working with people and kind of helping them to see that they too can, be in a position to make some power moves?
Right. So actually it started with my own personal mishaps. So,
Mm-hmm.
moving to Atlanta, I kind of moved prematurely. Didn't know
Mm-hmm.
anybody, no family, just picked up my kids, left New York, ready for a fresh start. I bounced around a little bit. I'm the type of person, if I'm not comfortable, I have to go.
Yeah.
So I had all these abandoned leases on my report. You know, I had filed bankruptcy fresh out of college. You know how that
Mhm.
is. You know, you get the loans and the credit card offers, and you're thinking
Yeah.
free money. They don't really educate us. Okay, you have to pay this back. If you don't, this
Mhm.
is what happens. So I'm gonna say after my third lease abandonment, they all hit my credit at one time because it
Oh,
takes
wow.
it takes a little bit of time for them to hit your credit.
To show up, right.
Right. And I was trying to find somewhere to live with my kids and I couldn't.
Mhm.
And I had paid two different people to help me, help me take these negative items off my credit report. Had no luck. And within like the ending of my first year in Atlanta with my kids, I was practically homeless.
Oh,
And a lot of
wow.
people don't know that about me, and I've always been a hustler. I've always had the money. Just at that point in time in my life, my credit was shot.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
believe in a higher power. I believe in God. I stayed prayed up and I just pretty much just turned my pain into purpose. And that
Right.
actually started me on this path because I have a psychology degree. I was
Oh,
doing
wow.
management prior to that. So I didn't
Mhm.
wake up like, hey, I want to help people, fix their credit and do stuff like that. It was more so the journey that I was on. That was like
Mhm.
a major roadblock. And it made me realize, a lot of people don't really get into credit until they're told no.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
we want to be like, okay, damn, what did I do? What did I do wrong? How can I make it better? So I just was like, okay, I'm going to use my platform to educate people, because a lot of times it's not that we don't want to do better. We don't have the resources. We don't have the knowledge. We don't have the education. Even if you go to school, it's not something they teach us in school. Like I was a whole college graduate leaving school in debt with student loans, credit cards, loans. I
Because
wasn't.
they do. No one talks about that. When you go to college,
Mhm.
they immediately start to bombard you with all these credit cards. And so you are 18, 19 years old, and it's like, I can get credit. I mean, it's just you really, unless you have been taught, which most of us
Right.
haven't been, it's like, wait a minute. And it's usually in college, you don't have much money anyway because you're going to school. And
Right.
so you got all these credit cards. So it is a Molotov cocktail for disaster. And most college students end up in a lot of debt. Like you said, you already have loans. They really need to fix that. Or we need to start educating young people. Don't take out that loan, get that credit card because they're going to trap you. And then by the time you end up graduating, you're broke. You get a job and you can't even
You spending
some
your whole
jobs.
time trying to
Yeah, some jobs check your credit. You know what I mean? Like there are a lot of jobs now that will run your credit before you even get the job because your credit speaks to your character. So that's
yeah.
something that we definitely need to teach young people. So I'm glad to see you in the public eye, sharing that message, that
Well, thank you.
financial literacy is really important.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So you go from doing all that. I read that you actually met Caesar when you were an extra on Black Ink years ago. So
Right.
tell me about that. You guys stay in touch? Were you guys automatically attracted to each other? How did that happen?
So, like I said, I believe in God. I feel what's for you is for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, ironically, I entered the urban scene as an urban model in 2014, right?
Okay.
I got called, this was in New York. I got called to be an extra at Oh Shit's Coming Home party.
Okay.
No, nothing major, just a bunch of girls partying in the shop. They wild party days back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. I came, did my job, and left. Never seen him again, never spoke to him again. I moved to Atlanta in 2016, and in
Mm-hmm.
2017, he opens up Black Ink Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I get called to be an extra. I just always been in that crowd,
Okay.
when I was on the scene. And after that scene, it was kind of we exchanged numbers and we became good friends. Like C's and I've been friends for 3 years. So
Okay.
people, we just popped up into this relationship. No, we've actually been friends for 3 years. I've watched the women come and go. He watched the men come and go. I had to clean up my life. Like I was
Yeah.
into a lot of crazy things, back
Mm-hmm.
then. And I kind of got my life together, started doing the real estate, started doing the credit, got off for OnlyFans, got out the clubs. And that's when he actually expressed interest, and wanting to take our friendship a little further. But prior to that, which was January 2020, we've just always been friends, like clubs together. We hung out. I done hung out, with a couple of him and his girlfriends and stuff like that. We were just real cool.
That's interesting. Now, if you guys are just tuning in, we are talking to new star of Black Ink Crew, Suzette Samuel. She's here. We talked about her real estate career, but now we're getting into the romance with her and Caesar, how this happened. Now, I'm always curious when people say they were friends first, they were friends for a while, especially when they knew like significant others from each side. Were you attracted to him at all at that time? You were not attracted to him at all. Are you serious?
Something, girl. I'm gonna be real. Like I said, I had to grow up.
Okay.
I was into the scammers, the drug dealers, okay, daddies. Like that was my lifestyle. Being in the clubs, bartending, being an urban model. Like you could imagine the type of men that I was around. So
yeah,
I was more attracted to what a guy could do for me. I wasn't really attracted to the substance of a man, and he knew that about. Right. So even as we started dating, it was like, hold on, like I know how you move. You ain't gonna get me how you got them. So a lot of people's like, oh, you with him for his money and da da da. And I'm like, listen, I had a whole situation prior to C's that I let go where I was financially okay. You know what I'm saying? To be with C's. I'm 33 years old. I had 2 daughters. Like I said, once I cleaned up my life, I just really got to the point mentally and emotionally that I was like, okay, I'm ready to settle down. As women, I think it's important, especially with my past. Like I done had men hire people trying to kill me. Like I done been in abusive relationships and everything. So I've learned not to play with a man and his emotions. So I'm one of them females that knew I was living how I was living and was out here trying to get in relationships. Like I was by myself. My youngest daughter is she's about to be 8. So I was by myself from the time she was 2 to like 2019, where I wasn't focused on a relationship because I knew that I was one of them girls that I'm gonna get it by any means necessary. I'm not gonna settle down. I don't want to. When you're in a relationship, you have to worry about your partner. I did not. It was about me and my children. I didn't have time to worry about hurting your feelings, changing I to we. Like it was all about what I need to do to get me stable, to get my kids stable, and then I can focus on a man,
Right.
So then that didn't happen until the real estate kicked off, until the financial literacy kicked up. This whole time I've been trying to find my way.
Right. It's like you've been growing up and growing into a woman. Right. I appreciate your honesty. First of all, I think that's dope that you can really be honest about who you are and what you were dealing with, and the fact that you weren't ready for maybe a man like him. But I want to ask you, because I think there are a lot of young women that can relate to what you have gone through, or even probably want to do what you were doing before, right?
Right.
So do you think that when you were younger and you were saying you were just dealing with men for what they could do for you as opposed to love, right? That wasn't really your goal. Was that because you didn't believe that in love, or you just really weren't, that wasn't what you were taught to look for? You were just taught to look for finance and make sure that he can, keep me happy, keep me this, and keep it moving. Or had you learned that maybe men were full of shit, so I'm gonna get them before they get me?
Right. Well, I wasn't taught anything. I'll just say this: like I've been raped. I've been kidnapped. My father hasn't been in my life. He's actually overseas. We just connected when I was like 16, 17. So I'm just gonna say mentally, I knew as a young girl back then, and even as a woman, I didn't have anything to offer a man. So a lot of times we get so caught up in what we look for in a man. We want a man to have this, we want a man to have that. But at the same time what are we offering in return? Yeah. And I didn't have anything to offer in return. You know what I mean? So that is what prevented me from really.
What do you mean? What do you mean offer? What do you mean? What do you think that a woman should have to offer a man before she's interested in getting into a relationship?
I definitely feel like we should love ourselves first. Again, that's something I struggled with, because of my past. I definitely feel like whatever we look for in a man, we should be able to give in return. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so even
Mm-hmm.
now, like for example, in my relationship with C's, whatever he can do for me, I can do for him. If he buys me
Yeah.
something, I buy him something. If he paid a mortgage this month, I'm paying the mortgage next month. So it's
Mm-hmm.
more so like 50-50. If you can't match a man's mental, a man's spirit, and financially, then it's
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like 9 times out of 10 it's not going to work out. A relationship should be 50-50. And a lot of times as women, you know, we're bouncing from man to man, from relationship without finding ourselves, without even loving ourselves, without even really being in tune with us.
Yeah.
You know? And
How
because
did you learn? Because I hear your past and I read your bio. That I commend you for being able to understand that. But I wonder, what was your journey to healing like after dealing with abusive men, after going through, rape? And rape is something that so many women have dealt with. I've dealt with it myself. So many women have dealt with it. It's not an easy thing to come back and heal from. It's one thing to think that you're healed, but to actually go through it. So what was your journey to healing like?
Girl, it was hell. I'm gonna say 2019 is when I really, kind of just woosah. And it wasn't something like I've been to counseling,
Good.
they tried to medicate me. So the counseling didn't work,
Mm-hmm.
and I've actually been to counseling my whole life off and on. It was just
Okay.
more so when I really got in tune with God and I really started to put him first. And I actually went through a deliverance. It's a
Mm-hmm.
church in Atlanta that you pretty much go through a deliverance. You contact them, you fill out an application, let them know everything you want to be freed from, past pain, past trauma, and they help you free that baggage. And that's
Mm-hmm.
another. I couldn't get into a serious relationship still holding baggage from my past situations, my first baby father, my ex that held me at gunpoint prior to C's. You know what I'm saying? So I had to really tune into self, learn self, love myself, stay to myself, and sacrifice the relationships, the happiness, but
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have been able to be in a healthy relationship prior to that because I was too broken.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, if you guys are just tuning in, we're having a serious conversation. This is a real reality check with Suzette Samuel. She's on Black Ink Crew, and you and C's have definitely been in the news, not necessarily because of your relationship, but because of family stuff. So there's issues with Caesar and his daughter that people have seen kind of play out in the media. You actually stepped in and kind of had his back. We've seen you being very supportive of him, and that ended up being I think you've taken some heat for, kind of, I guess, going at his daughter and going back and forth on that.
I can't really speak on that situation because we're in a legal battle right now, but I will say this. My outburst to his daughter had nothing to do with her allegations to her father. Okay. What people don't realize, she went on a 45-minute rant.
Mm-hmm.
The blogs, of course, being messy, they didn't post everything. Her blog started with her attacking my children. I'm a mother of two, first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
My 7-year-old was molested by a friend of the family.
Oh
So
my goodness.
she spoke on that and made fun of that. And this is the same 7-year-old she had put her hands on. So it was more so the rage that I felt that I've been dealing with the disrespect. My children have been dealing with the disrespect for so long behind closed doors. And now that it made public, it was like she was there during that time when we went through that.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize is when she went live, we was at the bowling alley. My kids were next to me. The whole bowling alley was on live.
Wow.
My kids sitting there next to me, listening to that and looking at me like, mommy, like what?
Yeah.
And the part that the blogs are not showing, it had nothing to do with, what she was saying about C's. It had nothing to do with that. That's none of my business.
Yeah.
Understand? I was wrong for addressing a minor, yes. But at the end of the day, I don't know too many parents that would have been in my shoes at the time that would have handled it any differently, especially, like I said, when there's been an ongoing issue behind closed doors and nothing was done.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about the situation. And, it is what it is at this point.
Yeah. Well, I think the fact that you said this is what I did that was wrong, but this is why that is enough.
Right.
What is it about Caesar that is different to you and that is makes you feel like this relationship can be different from your past? And him being a man in your life, you have a young daughter, obviously. What is it about him that makes you think he'll be a good influence on your children?
Well, I will say this. We've been together a year and some change. So 2 months into being together, we were living together. Wow. So he's been around my kids for a very long time. He's an excellent father figure to my kids. My first daughter, her father's not around. My second daughter, who's 8, well, she'll be 8, her father's around, but she now has seeds. So I think more so, even like his approach to me, like when he shot his shot, it was just like, I don't look at you like that. Like, get out of here. But it was the way he came at me it kind of turned me on a little bit. And I was like, okay, like, let's see where it go. And we have fun. One of our first dates, he was teaching me about stocks. I don't know if you're on the dating scene, but a lot of guys nowadays don't have conversation, let alone are business minded. Right. To meet somebody who was actually putting me on to game, putting me on to something that I didn't know about, and I was doing the same for him with the financial literacy because his credit was shot when I first got with him. So I think it was the fact that we really learning from each other. Like we could really elevate each other's lives. And the fact that I'm not a part of his industry, you know what I'm saying? I think that makes it work also because I don't work for him. You don't work for me. So there's no control barriers, with that. Like I do what I do, which is pretty much mobile. I can be anywhere and do my job. And he does what he does. And I think that's pretty much what makes it work. He's so funny. Like it's so many layers to his personality that is not shown. Yeah. And I just think overall he's an amazing person. Like he wants the best for those around him. Even if that means putting himself last. But I think overall he's just an amazing guy. He's smart, he's witty, he's funny, he's ambitious. He's dope.
Well, that's cool. I definitely think when a man really, really cares about you and sees you as a part of his future, he will try to help upgrade your situation, right? Regardless. And so with him doing that sounds good. Was there anything that made you a little apprehensive? I mean, we've known his public relationships. He's had a few public relationships. Right. Was there anything that made you think, oh, I don't know about this, or a little bit hesitant about going public with the relationship? Or were you just like, it is what it, because you're already a public person. Were you just like, it is what it is?
No, so I was real hesitant in the front. So I'm gonna put it this way. When I really started being around him and started seeing what the things he dealt with on a day-to-day basis, from his employees, his work, to his family, it made me understand why he was the way he was. Because it wasn't always peaches and cream. I'm not going to sit here and act like our relationship has always been wonderful, but when a man wants you, he's gonna do what he needs to do for you. True. Right. So it was a lot of hurdles we had. It was a lot of hurdles we had in the beginning, but it was just like, it got to a point where I was like, listen, I'd rather keep the friendship than for us to try this relationship and go left and we hate each other. Like, we could just be cool. Right. And I think that was more so the realization on his end, like, oh, wow, because I'm not a female that needs you. I want you. I'm not a female that's going to put up with your bullshit. I'm not going to nag you to treat me right. I'm not going to do none of that. So if we can't get it together, then we could just part ways and remain the friends that, we've been. But like I said, when a man wants you, he's going to make the necessary adjustments and he's going to change. And that's what he did. He
adjusted himself accordingly. Right. Yes,
but like I say, in relationships, you have to mold the person you want to be with. They only know, what they're used to. Right. Well, if you're not used to, like with him, he wasn't used to a female taking the bill at dinner. You know, he wasn't used to a female, hey baby, how's your day? Talk to me. He wasn't used to a female putting him on to things educational wise that he wasn't aware of. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that we brought different aspects to the relationship that kind of made it mesh, because I get bored quick and he gets bored quick, you know?
Right.
So
Right.
it's just, even to this day, he's not the type of person that I could wake up and tell you, all right, this is what we're gonna do today. This is what he's gonna say. This is like, every day is a brand new experience. Like, you just don't know. You know, and I call him my favorite asshole because he's an asshole. But I think it works because I'm an asshole too. We just understand each other.
I was talking to a young girl recently, and we were talking about being in an abusive relationship. Well, a relationship that had a potential to be abusive. And I asked her, what are your non-negotiables as a woman? Like, what do you know that no matter what you're doing, who you're with, this is what I will not deal with, and this is what I will deal with. So what are your non-negotiables in a relationship with a man?
Well, seeing how I've went through abusive relationships damn near my whole life, I know the signs of how it starts. You know, so it's guys trying to control where you're going, who you with, what you're wearing, that type of thing. So I think first and foremost, I have to maintain my self-identity. So if I was doing X, Y, and Z prior to me meeting you and prior to us being together, that's not something I'm gonna stop because I'm dating you. Especially if I make it known and that's something I do. Like, okay, this is what I've done. This is what's out there. Now you have the decision on whether or not you want to deal with me. You know, so I think that's very important. We don't conform who we are as a woman to be with a man.
Right.
I would say that's top. Second, just, you know, paying attention to how a person talks to you and how they treat you. Like, and this was something I had to teach C's, because it was just like, I would get upset over certain things and he couldn't understand why I was upset. And then it'll turn to him being upset. And now it's like, I got to kiss your ass. Like, no. And I think one of the main things in relationships, not just boyfriend, girlfriend relationships, but friendships, parenthood, because I had to learn this with my kids also, you don't have to agree with how I feel, but you have to acknowledge my feelings. So if I'm telling you that something hurt me or something made me upset or something made me feel some type of way, you might not understand it, and that's fine. Yeah. But acknowledge that I feel this way, and you're gonna try to fix how I feel.
Right. You know? That's big.
If those three things I see that it's just not clicking, it's not gonna work. Because as people, being around each other, being in relationships, we're gonna have disagreements,
right? And some you may not ever fix, but as long as you try to, I agree with that. Yeah, because like we may not ever agree, but do you care about how I feel?
Exactly. I might tell you, babe, I really don't. It's like, and I tell this all the time. Like at times he get mad, and I'm like, listen, I don't understand why you're upset, but because I hurt your feelings and your feelings is hurt, I apologize. Right. You know, so I think just being on one accord, like I said, this is what I mean by giving what you want. You can't want that from somebody and can't give that at the same time. You know what I mean? So I think those are the main things when it comes to, those are like the red flags. Like, okay, nope, okay, gotta go.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to highlight, especially for girls watching this or that may see this, that controlling part, because I think sometimes it seems fun, especially when a guy is buying you, oh, I don't want you to wear that, I'll buy you this. It's like, okay, women get distracted by sometimes that money and not that access, and they don't realize it comes with a lot of control and a lot of other consequences that come out later. So those were great tips to share with other women. What does love feel like to you?
Oh man, love is amazing. It's waking up knowing that someone has your back, someone wants to grow with you, you know, support, encouragement. You know, is positive feelings. Not saying that you're not going to go through negative things, but love shouldn't have you questioning yourself. Shouldn't have you trying to change yourself for the worse. You know, I just feel like just with certain situations, like you'll know, because it's a healthy feeling. It's like having you could be with somebody for 2-3 years and still get them butterflies, still get them those excitements, still, you know, being with somebody that want to see you do good. And that's one of the main things that attracted me to C's, because it was like, listen, I don't want your money, but you're gonna help me make my money. You're gonna post my business, you know, and I'm not gonna lie, like all my money in 2020 during the pandemic, I made 6 figures. No BS.
Especially in the real estate market, because the real estate market is interesting that it's gone crazy. I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
I hate the market right now.
y'all are but a lot of real estate agents are killing it right now.
Yeah.
What advice, if you could go back in time? I love asking people this question because I think it helps other people watching. But if you could go back and talk to yourself at like 18 years old, what would you tell yourself about your journey and maybe what things to look for or to not be a part of?
Honestly, as crazy as it may sound, I wouldn't change my journey. You know, a lot of times we get stuck in the regret mode, you know, and I just feel like life is all about choices.
Yeah.
We are gonna go through pain, we are gonna go through turmoil. It's all about how you handle that, how you bounce back from that. So I've never been in a situation to where I went through something and I let it break me. Every chaotic situation, every situation that I've went through, I found the good in that bad situation, even down to this situation with financial literacy. Me being almost homeless, turning it into a career. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like we have to take our pain and turn it into purpose.
Absolutely. Well, that's a great note to end on. That's the reality check for tonight. You can always take your pain and turn it into purpose. How can people, besides watching Black Ink Crew, how can people find out more about your financial literacy program? And if they need a real estate agent here in Atlanta, how can people find you?
So you can email info@Nancy.org, or you can hit me up on Instagram, Suzette, which is SUZ as in zebra, ETTE _ the realtor. So whether you email me or whether you hit me on Instagram, in my bio, it has all the links to all my websites, all the services that I offer. I teach financial literacy classes. I do it all. So on Instagram is where you'll find everything. If you just want to get to me directly, you can email me.
Okay. What do you hope to come out of this Black Ink? Do you see you and C's together? Do you want to be on the show more? What do you want for that side of your life?
Honestly, as far as the show, I just feel like healthy relationships, healthy minority relationships need to be broadcasted more. You know, so I feel like, especially on TV, a lot of the relationships on TV is just all over the place. If there's one thing I do want to highlight while being on the show is I want people to, you know, take heed of my journey. You know, understand that, okay, you can come from here and still end up here. You know, understand that you can have a past and still have a future, still find somebody to love you for you, still have a career, you know, still respect yourself and stuff like that. So I'm not really, the show for me is more so to put my journey out there, to put my business out there, of course, my relationship. As far as me and C's, I mean, we're good. So I feel like our relationship is what it is off the camera. Even if I woke up and said tomorrow, like, you know what, I don't even want to do the TV thing no more. You know, we don't have a relationship TV. Like, you know,
that's
what I mean?
What's up. Yeah.
We have what we have on and off camera. So
that's cool. Yeah, that's the most important thing. A lot of people are faking it for the Instagram, and when the cameras are off, they're not really happy with each other. And it's like eventually you can see that. You can read through that. Yeah. Well, I want to wish you very much success. You've overcome a lot. It's very admirable, but I know that you have so much more that you're going to do. I hope that you continue to take your pain and push it into purpose. I wish lots of blessings upon your little babies also. You know,
Thank
they've
you.
gone through a lot too. So I hope they will see their
Yeah.
mommy turning into this amazing woman and they'll follow suit. So I really do wish that for you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us and being so honest and open tonight. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me. I
You're
appreciate
more
it.
than welcome. Good luck, Suzette.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye bye. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I think that's a great reality check for this Monday. You can always take your pain and turn it into purpose, and there's nothing that you can't get through and rebound and have an amazing future from. She's a great testament of strength and just the tenacity of a beautiful Black woman. So I wish her lots of success. I thank you guys for hanging out with me. We've had a very interesting reality check today. We had Shamari DeVoe from Black, who is now on Encore, coming up on BET on Wednesday. And of course, we just talked to Suzette from Black Ink Crew. She has had her own stories, very honest about the headlines and the trending conversation about her and Caesar and the drama with Caesar's daughter. So let me know what you guys think about that. You can always chime in here on the comments. Let us know what you think. If you want more information about Suzette and what she has going on, we're going to have some stuff up on rollingout.com, so you can check it out there. You can always go to our website. As always, I love you guys for watching. I will see you on Friday at 10 p.m. for the Ready to Love recap. You guys know we do it every week right here on Rolling Out.